Assalamualaikum. Hello and welcome to Gurukul Online Learning Network. Today I'm Instructor Sheikh Mahdi with you. We're going to study Finance and Banking, Chapter 4, Break-Even Analysis. So, Financial Statement Analysis. Our today's topic is the break-even analysis. We just did the break-even analysis formula and the math in the previous class. Today we're going to check out the change in costs and operating break-even point. That means if there are certain kinds of change in the PCFC or the PFC or the VC, like fixed cost, variable cost, or in price per unit, or even the break-even quantity sales. So we will have four kinds of situations. So let's take a look. In situation 1, let's continue with the RPG logs that we did in our previous classes. So our fixed cost was given 45,000 in RPG logs. In the previous math, it was given 45,000. But in this case, in situation 1, suppose our fixed cost has increased taka 5,000 more. That means our fixed cost is now currently at taka 50,000. It's a situation 1. So how would you do the math? It's just simple. Simple as that. Q is equal to, as there was FC, P minus VC, FC was 45,000 plus it's a new one, P minus VC. Sorry, price per unit was 120 minus 60, so 50,000. 50,000 divided by 60. If they just normally add our fixed cost with taka 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, in the next line we'll just add that. No other conclusions, no other more problems. So if we divide 50,000 divided by 60, it will take us to a round figure of 833 units of product. 833 units of product. So what was the effect? That if we see the fixed cost increases, the break-even point also increases in comparison with the break-even point of 750 units in the example 1. That means the one we did in the previous maths. So in this case, if the fixed cost increases, we'll just simply have to add it. No more problems, no more other solutions. So in situation 2, increase in per unit selling. Let's continue with the RPG logs again. So there was mentioned our selling unit was 120 taka. Let's assume that our selling price has increased up to 120, it has increased more 30. It will be 150 is our price per unit of selling price is 150. So let's take a look at the effect. It will be same. Our fixed cost was given 45,000, not 50,000 in this case. In this case, our 120, the P increased. It will be 150 minus 60. That will be 90. Sorry, 150 minus 60, that will be 90. 45,000 divided by 900. That means 45 divided by 9. It's easily 5,000 units. That means Q is equal to 5,000. Q is equal to 500 units. Q is equal to 500 effect. So the effect on this, if the unit selling price increases, the break-even point decreases in comparison with the break-even point of 750 in the. So in the previous one, the effect we saw, if the variable cost increased, the break-even point would also increase with that. But in the second situation, if our selling price per unit, that means if our P increases, our break-even point will simply just decrease. So the previous one was 833 and here we got 500. 833 was when the variable cost increased and 500 units was the price per unit increased. So let's take a look at situation number 3. In situation 3, increase in per unit value, which is the VC. Again, let's continue with the example of RPG log that was mentioned given below. It was 60 taka. That was 60 taka, our VC. The variable cost was taka 60 only. In this situation, they will give us a rise of taka more 15. That means our VC will increase taka 75 by taka 15 more. In this case, let's see the effect and let's do the math at first. So as usual, 45,000, which is the FC, our P minus the VC. It's same as the Q. Each kinds of situation has each kinds of different amplification or each kinds of different effects on the last outcome of the break-even analysis. So 120 minus 75 will get a sum result of taka 45. So 45,000 divided by 45, that will easily bring us down to a 1,000 units. So if we take out the effect of that, the per unit variable cost increases, the break-even point increases in comparison with the one we did in the situation number 1, where the fixed cost was increased. If fixed cost increases, the break-even point increases. The per value unit, that means the VC increases, the break-even point increases. But if the selling per unit increases, the break-even point simply decreases. So this was of the situation number 3, where our VC simply increased. So let's now take a look at the situation number 4. Situation 4. What are we going to increase over here? Situation 4, effect of all 3 situations is considered together. So let's see what happens if we combine all the 3 situations. In all the 3 situations, our FC was 50,000 in situation number 1. Our P, the price per unit was 150 in situation number 2, and our VC was taka 75 in situation number 3. So let's put down all of these together within the normal break-even point value. $50,150 minus 75. 50,000 divided by 75. We will get a normal unit of 666.66. It's normally considered as 667 unit. So what is the effect of this? 667 units. In the previous one we saw, if the per unit variable increases, the break-even point increases, and the variable cost, the fixed cost increases, the break-even point also increases. But if the P, the price per unit selling, increases, the variable cost, the break-even point decreases. But in situation 4, if all of those are increased all together, the result eventually comes down to a lower grade. So the break-even point decreases. In the normal one, the break-even point was 750 units. But in situation 4, when we combined all of those together, our break-even simply just decreases. So this was the main, and this was one of the most blending situations of the break-even point analysis. If sometimes the FC, PC or P or the VC increases or decreases. Those were the 4 effects of the 4 situations of the break-even point. Finally, if you have any kinds of question regarding this class, please let us know down in the comment box below, and be with Gurukul. Thank you.